is only true in fairy tales, and for someone else, but not for me. Our love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed.
Foundation, that means they help people in the society. So she's a very important woman in society, and she's leaving her office to come and she runs an oil company. That's very big, isn't it? But she's leaving her office to come and sit here and read to you. Do you know why? Because she wants to show you how important reading is. That if you read, you can be like her one day, a successful businesswoman, mother, wife, pastor, and everything together, okay? So we're going to, what will happen is that when she comes, I will introduce her, then she will read to you. We're going to just read once so we can understand where exactly we'll be reading. It's going to be a little different from what you have. When I tell you the page, then you turn to the page. Okay, children, good morning. How are you today? Okay, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Okay, children, what we do every year at the festival, part of what we do, is that we bring a role model to read to you. Okay? We bring a role model. Who can tell me what a role model is? Can anybody tell me what a role model is? Yes?
My name is Africa.
A role model is what? That teaches you something. Is that what you said? Clap for him. Yes, who is a role model?
Role model is someone that is famous.
That is what?
Famous person.
I like that, a famous person. Clap for him. So we bring somebody that you can look up to. That's a role model. Sometimes a role model is famous, but not all the time. So, but what is important is that it's somebody you can look up to. Does anybody here have a role model? Can you tell me who your role model is? I don't want the same people, so I'm going to ask, who is your role model?
My role model is my teacher.
Is your what?
Teacher.
Your teacher. Wow. Clap for her, I like that. Anybody else can tell me who their role model is? The girl at the back.
My role model is my parents.
Your parents are your role model. Very good. So a role model can be somebody very close to you. Like I think perhaps my greatest role model is also my parents, the greatest influence in my life. So for some people it's a teacher. But for other people we have role models like Nelson Mandela, different people around us. So we bring somebody whose life you can learn from. The lady that is reading to us today is Chief Mrs. Seiye Lulu Briggs. She's very important to us as a role model for several reasons. Madame runs a big company that deals in oil. She also runs a foundation that helps the elderly and helps people in society who are vulnerable, who really, really need help. But I think I can also say she's a pastor, because one day I went to her house and she has a chapel and she was preaching. So she's a woman, and I know she's a wife and she's a mother. So she's a woman of many parts. Is she a role model?
Yes.
So clap so we can welcome her. very early and doesn't go to bed till very late. And I was wondering, how is she able to do all this and still come out looking so beautiful? So I think there's a lot that we can learn from Mrs. Lulu Briggs, and that's why we brought her here. She's a very busy person, but she's taken time out of her busy schedule to come and read to you, to let you know that books are important. Okay, so first we will read from page 8 to 14. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Maria loved her father's laboratory. A laboratory is a room where scientists do their work. Seeing all the long-necked bottles and jars, she asked her father, "What are these bottles meant for?" "They are used by scientists to do their work," her father said. "What work do scientists do?" "They discover things and do research, which is finding out more about things," said her father. "That sounds interesting. I'd like to be a scientist one day," said Maria. "But my dear Maria, your sister, Bronya, wants to go to medical school too. I would love to grant both of you your wishes, but I don't have the money," said her father sadly.
So we go to page 10. So turn to page 10.
Hearing her father's disappointed voice and feeling her own disappointment, Maria was determined not to give up. "If that's the case," said Maria, "Bronya shall go first. I shall work as a governess and send her the money. When she starts earning money as a doctor, she can help me to get a place in the university." And so Maria started working. At first, she worked with a family where the mistress of the household was very rude to her and paid her very little money. But once more, Maria never gave up. She knew that the world was made up of many kinds of people, and that she must learn to either put up with them or change them through her own actions. Later, Maria found a job with a good family where she thought they had 3 daughters. They were pleasant, and she was able to earn more money too.
Okay, page 12, please.
One day, in 1891, Maria received a letter from Paris. She was delighted. "Hooray! Bronya's asked me to join her in Paris. I'm going to study to be a scientist," she shouted out to her family. Her parents were happy for her and proud of her too. As she packed her suitcase, Maria thought, "I'll have to work hard. But since I'll be learning about science, the hard work will be fun too. And if I make discoveries, I'll be able to help people." That day, there was no sadder person than Maria. She loved her family dearly, and parting from them was going to be painful. As the train slowly chugged out of the station at Warsaw, she waved goodbye to her parents till she could see them no more.
Now we'll go to page 14. Are we at page 14?
Yes.
By the time the train pulled into Paris, Maria was not sad anymore. She was excited, thinking about her new life. She hugged her sister, who was waiting with her husband to receive her at the station. But instead of going straight home after the long and tiring journey, she wanted to go immediately to the Sorbonne. The Sorbonne is one of the best universities in the world. Apart from this, in those days, not many universities admitted women into the field of science. As Maria stood looking at the Sorbonne, her heart was filled with joy at the sight of this great institution, she wanted to be part of it all. And so she decided to change her name from Maria to Marie, which is the French way of saying Mary.
Okay, now we're going to go to page 18, wife and mother, page 18. And we're going to read 18 up to the end of the book. When you're at 18, raise your hand so we know that everybody is at page 18. Are you following the story? Yes. Because Madam is going to ask you questions and you can ask her questions as well. So we need everyone to follow carefully, page 18. Okay, you can put down your hands now.
One day, Marie was invited to her friend's house for dinner. There she met Pierre Curie, who was a brilliant physicist. Pierre was so involved in his work that he had no interest in marriage. Most women in those days were not well educated, and Pierre did not want to be someone who could not share his work. But on meeting Marie, he thought to himself, this is an interesting woman. She is good looking and intelligent. It will be interesting to discuss problems in physics and mathematics with her. After that, Marie and Pierre met quite often and finally decided to get married. All their time went in research. They were very happy to be with each other. Later, they had a beautiful daughter, whom they called Irene. Irene inherited her parents' brilliance and received many awards for her work.
Can we give Madame a round of applause? I'll ask the children a few questions, and then I'll throw the floor for them to ask. And if they're too shy, I'll set the ball rolling by asking you myself. If you really like the book, I want you to tell me why you like the book. And I don't want you to say what someone else has said. Once one person has given us a point, I want you to give us another point. So let me start with the young lady in front of me. You need to speak loud so everybody can hear you. Why do you like the book?
Because the book is really encouraging.
Oh, wow. Okay, how does it encourage you?
It encouraged me because Maya never gave up. And so I would like not to never give up.
Clap for her. Okay, so let me have the boy first, yes? The boy on the second row. Tell us your name.
My name is Lulu. Why I like the book is because Maria was very brave and she was a woman that no one could be better than.
Oh, I love that. She came first at one time, didn't she? She did. Clap for him. Yes, someone is very eager. Yes. Why do you like the book?
I like the book because...
Yes. Yeah? You who's talking?
I like the book because she's a scientist and that's what I want to be in future.
Oh, wow. Clap for her.
Boys and girls, I know you've read this book. Can someone tell me the meaning of the word you find in page 26? Cauldron.
My name is Joe Lonafi, and cauldron is the pot that she's using to boil water.
The important thing is that it's made of iron. It's not like the pot we have at home. It's a big round pot made of cast iron. That's a cauldron. Do you all know a cauldron now? Can you imagine? It's there, page 27, the picture there.
Yeah, the picture of the cauldron is there. What about the meaning of laboratory?
It's a room where scientists do their work.
It's a room where scientists do their work. Clap for him.
Whatever state you find yourself today, believe in yourself and you become what you dream to become. Maria was a governess taking care of other people's children because her father did not have enough money to pay for her education. So during that period, she helped her parents earn money. And when the time came, her dream never died. She knew that even though she was a governess today, that she would become a scientist. And so she held on to her dream and worked hard in school. She studied hard, despite the fact that there was a time she did not go to school. And eventually became the great scientist, the prize-winning scientist that we are reading about today. So we have to hold on to our dream, and wherever we find ourselves, we should excel in that low area where we are. We shall be elevated and we shall get to where we are supposed to be.
Life is not always going to be smooth, but you hold on to your dreams. Is that a good lesson for us?
Yes.
Okay, how many of us have dreams to become something in the future? I'm sure everybody has a dream. Okay, we're going to ask one or two people about their dreams. Yes, you who's looking back, yes. What's your dream?
My name is Chagotay and my dream in life is to be a doctor.
I want to become a medical doctor in the future.
You want to be an engineer. Clap for him.
I had a dream when I was a young girl growing up. My role model then was my father. And I knew he loved history. He read so much. And he made us read almost everything. And he made me read to him newspapers every day when I came back from school. I thought he didn't know how to read. I did not know that he was teaching me how to read. So I always read, to him. And my dream then was to become the most knowledgeable person. I wanted to acquire, just to read voraciously anything that came my way. And I would just be someone recognized as having all the knowledge in the world. I did not know what that would translate to eventually, but I knew that knowledge was very important and I had to acquire knowledge. When I grew up, finished my secondary education, we started hearing about computers. And there was no one I'd known who read computer science or who had anything to do with computers. But when we started reading newspapers, and so we started reading about IBM and computers. And I started wondering, wanting to know what this new thing was. And so my interest was moved, came towards that way. I had to know what the computer was. And I told my father I wanted to go and read computer science. And he said, what are you talking about? But at the end of the day, the place where I worked, they were using a fraction of a computer in those days, the input system. I was working there, but then the processing was done in Lagos, far away Lagos. I wanted to now know what was done before we got back our reports from Lagos. I had the data, and then I had the report, but how was it being processed? The desire to know still was in me. And I decided, I told my father I had to go and read about computers. And he saw me, I was determined. And he sent me off to Lagos. I was so young and alone, but I went to Lagos and I read about computers, eventually ended up in England, where I did my further course in computer science, data processing, and came back to Nigeria, established, and I was one of the pioneer staff of the Seiye in the computer services department. So I just loved something new. My dream was to always have an edge over others, always read and read and read. So I love reading.
Clap for her. I'm going to be throwing questions at, okay, do you have any question for Madam?
Yes.
Okay, you behind, yes. What question do you have? Yeah.
Nigeria are scientists. Why?
Most women in Nigeria are scientists.
Are not scientists.
Okay, are not scientists.
They are mostly men.
Okay, it's mainly men that study the sciences. Are you sure about that? What gave you that impression?
Because it said that in the story, Maria was the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize for her great work as a scientist. And also, she is the only person I know as a scientist as a woman.
Wow. Don't you have a science teacher?
Science.
He's a man.
Yes.
Wow.
My science teacher is a man.
Okay.
Well, your question is a very good question. You can see that Marie did it. In what year was that? 18. When did she get her Nobel Prize? 1903. Her first Nobel Prize. Now that was many years ago. Over 100, nearly, or over 100 years ago. Yes. So she has set the example for us. I would ask that we don't dwell in the past. Those of us who are here, we have the opportunity to match what Marie has done and even surpass, get Nobel Peace Prize. Nobel Prize for physics, and I think she got both. Physics and chemistry. She got 2 prizes. So we can also do it. Do we have female scientists in the house here today?
Yeah.
Yes? How many of us are dreaming to be scientists? I can see some girls' hands. So the future is bright. We can change the story. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
We can change the story.
Okay, let's put our hands together for all the women who want to be scientists.